Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Some dumb guy here. Make sure your seats and tray tables are in their upright and locked position, because shit is about to get risky. So, I just got out of the theater after watching Flight Risk. And whew, that was a movie. So, Flight Risk is directed by Mel Gibson, stars Michelle Dockery, Mark Wahlberg, in probably his first villainous role in about 30 plus years. And there's a kitty. Hello, kitty. And Topher Grace. Flight Risk is a relatively short movie, clocking it a slim hour and 31 minutes. You might not necessarily think so if you're sitting in a theater watching it. Felt closer to 2. I don't mind long movies. I don't mind short movies. I don't mind slow burns. This movie, for some reason, I don't even know how to describe this. You got a movie and you're watching it and things just feel a little bit skewed. And I'm not talking like Kevin Smith skewed. I'm talking just a little bit off. Things just don't quite feel too settled. There's something very off, either about the writing or the acting. I would say the writing, because everything across the board. Maybe it's Mel Gibson's directing, although we know from past experience the man can direct the hell out of a movie. Well, we start off with an opening scene here with about the fakest looking CGI moose I've ever seen, and that didn't bode well after some really just, I don't know. We have the story of a U.S. Marshal transporting a mob or mafia type accountant via private prop plane charter over Alaska to testify and through a witness protection program. And the pilot of the plane is killed and replaced with presumably a mafia hitman whom happens off screen, so it's not necessarily apparent right away. If you've seen the trailer, you obviously know that's the case. No spoilers here. Mid-flight, it gets real. It happens. Stuff goes bad. And then we're essentially left with a close quarters thriller, a single location, interpersonal drama, tension, fight for your life kind of thing. With the exception of a few terse scenes, there's no real sense of dread. The comedic undertones, I think, for this particular story conflict. I don't think they really work too well. Topher Grace in particular, the dude just don't shut up. U.S. Marshal here, who's transporting Topher Grace's character, has to tell the man to shut up on a regular basis. Does he listen? No. He just keeps at it and keeps at it and keeps at it. But Jesus, I mean, it reminded me of Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3 all over again. It just obnoxious and oftentimes whiny at the same time. It's like, okay, pick a character. Play it. The lead lady who plays the U.S. Marshal, Michelle Dockery, the entire time she had me wishing she was Carla Gugino, which I think would have been a proper, solid role for her, assuming she could still play it. I don't know exactly what her age is at this point, but at least back in her day, I think she would have performed this solidly. Miss Dockery here has a very peculiar style of acting, more so than what I was seeing from the others. And I don't know how to describe it exactly. On one hand, she felt very wooden. On the other hand, it seemed that was the way her character was. And then sometimes, okay, well, maybe this is the way she was being directed to be. She felt awkward is the best way I think I can use to describe it. Mark Wahlberg as a villain, this character is a bit over top, complete loony, didn't feel particularly threatening. I think that's a problem, because even after the big reveal, he seemed more cartoonish than anything else. A lot of the character interactions with him from both our U.S. Marshal and our witness, let's just say there's a lot of stupidity from these two people in relation to said villain. That was a problem. There were a lot of phone and radio interactions with characters who are strictly voices in the film. I remember when watching these trailers, the big reveal of Mark Wahlberg's character, his hitman character, as not being a pilot, but being somebody nefarious. There's two little brief scenes of one, a cut on his neck just under his ear that he brushes off as a maintenance injury, and then followed up by, on his opposite rear shoulder, a patch of blood on his shirt that the marshal sees both and becomes suspicious. When that scene is played out in the film, it's really bizarre because you see that scratch or that cut. Of course, it's red from the blood, but the very next time you see it, it's a different color. It went from dryish blood to a bright red, almost looked like it was glowing for emphasis. It was really just disconcerting. This movie's got a lot of just freaky, weird elements that don't work. There's a lot in the first, 5 or 6 minutes of this movie, maybe. A lot of strange camera, like long shot panning, sweeping across, checking things out. And you would do this one where you do it in a plane, and then you're in the, for the back of the plane, and you're coming through, and you're zooming back, and it almost felt like this grand experiment Mel Gibson was going through. Like, hey, I've got about a dozen different, ideas for filming experiments I want to try, and let's get this little low budget movie, and I'm just going to throw them all, spitball them against the wall and see what sticks. Well, none of them really did. The weird thing about this film, though, is I could almost see this becoming not quite a so bad it's good, but a so bad it's a kind of a guilty pleasure kind of film. It's not... It's a movie. That's it. That's on God. I'm done.